Hey there, Vols fans. Welcome to another episode of Tennessee Fan Talk, where your Vols are 5-0, first time since 2016 under Botch Jones.
Botch, yeah, that's
Hey,
brick by brick.
they beat Florida and Georgia that year, with that last second Hail Mary. Regardless, they're 5-0 again. Last week's podcast, we talked about this being kind of an even keel when we talk about stats versus stats, Tennessee and LSU. Tennessee proved that they were a much, much better program. We're going to break down the game, talk about the next game with Alabama, and maybe touch around the SEC just a hair. All the madness, the craziness, how Lane Kiffin felt about Vandy scoring on him.
Yeah. Jimbo Fisher, it may be the biggest idiot in college football. Yeah. Hey, just for a mere $68 million, A&M, you can buy them out this year. And
that's right.
I think it drops down to about 49 next year. So, that's brilliant move on their part.
We'll hit all that
anyway
as soon as we get started. Get on in here with us.
Hey, Vols fans, welcome to Tennessee Fan Talk, the show that is by Tennessee fans for Tennessee fans and your source for hilarious weekly updates on everything Volunteers. And now for the moment you've been waiting all week for, here is Brandon Bird and the Duke.
All right, guys, welcome back, Tennessee Fan Talk. Appreciate y'all going in. We've said from the beginning, the inception of this show, we want to have fans on the show. We've had several special guests back and forth. Tonight we put out about 30 minutes to an hour before the show, posted out on social media, have had tons of views on it. No one's popped in. So guys, seriously, look for the link in Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. They're all at TN Fan Talk. I'm Brandon Bird here alongside Luke Alsop, and otherwise known as Tito. And we are going to pull in the Duke via phone. He's still on his way back from Baton Rouge, where he was one of the many Vols fans that traveled very well. You could hear Rocky Top the entire game. You could hear Tennessee fans the entire game. And towards the end of the game, it was only Tennessee fans.
Yeah, it's true. So the Duke's coming in. Does he have a sat phone with him? See, he's mobile.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. I wonder how many Bud Lights deep he is when he answers the phone. He's not driving, by the way. At least let's hope not.
Yellow.
There he is.
What's happening?
We got the Duke joining us via sat phone.
Nokia. It's my Nokia flip phone.
Your Nokia flip phone. Mm-hmm. So the first question is for the Duke.
Okay.
Is I hear that you had an LSU fan very friendly next to you.
Yes, him and his two boys.
And he was buying rounds.
Well, yeah, we were just sitting there cutting up during the game. The next thing I know, he walks back and he has two beers. He's like, "Oh, I got you one." And I'm like, "I like this guy." So I went and got a beer and I got him one.
Oh, there you go.
And we sat there and then he went back and he brought me another one. Then, 7 beers later, the game was over.
You hear that, Florida fans? You can be nice to other SEC teams.
Hey, well, he had a much better experience than I did in the past couple of times I went to Baton Rouge. Yeah, I got beer thrown at me, not handed to me.
Remember, this was a day game.
True.
It was a day game, but it was crowded. But we had a good time. Like I said, I had no issues with the fans. I got a couple mullet comments, but that's par for the course. So
but coming from LSU fans, I mean, come on now. They have no room to make.
I did tweet yesterday. I had to politely refuse the Nutri-Rack gumbo at the tailgate. But no, it was a good time. It was a big win. I got behind the gates when the players were getting off the bus. The UT guys not planning it, just happened to be right place, right time. They closed the gate off right behind me and Lakin. So we stood there and watched them all come off.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
It was like ball walk in Baton Rouge.
There you go.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's pretty awesome. So it sounded very, very loud on the television as far as Rocky Top and fans being involved. Even on the CBS broadcast, it sounded quite loud.
You mean ESPN because CBS didn't want us?
Or I'm sorry, ESPN. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that was actually one of the topics that I wanted to talk about is the out on social media of them going, and you didn't pick this game, CBS?
I'm loving to see the ratings. I wonder what that's going to be like.
Yeah, out of all the games that were being played on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean,
Georgia Auburn.
Really? Georgia Auburn. Yeah.
Hey, I the very first quarter looked like it was going to be a good game. And then that was it.
Okay, yeah. So speaking of the first quarter, I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, but there's some idiot LSU fans saying that we were using an EMP device to baffle the returner's brain on the kickoff of the start of the game to stop the ball. I swear it's out there. I was like, what am I reading?
I mean, did he not pay attention to the play? They swapped players around because they thought he was going to kick it to the opposite side, and then it did. It was just a last minute change, and it messed him up.
I'm telling you, you all need to look it up. I saw it on one of the forums. Like they have a forum called Tiger Droppings or something. I think which is a fantastic forum name. I mean, it's fantastic, but I think that's where I saw it. I've seen it on Twitter today. It's like these morons.
It was a fantastic game. Vols did it all sides of the ball. Made it happen all sides of the ball. And I've always said that Hooker, needed to do better. And looking at his stats, he's becoming more of a Heisman talk around the country.
And 17 straight games with a touchdown pass.
And no.
If he does it next week, he beats Heath Schuler, or he ties Heath Schuler. I can't remember if it's a beats or ties, but yeah.
If he performs next week as well as he did this week, and I say as well because he had a couple overthrows, just a couple, but he made smart decisions thinking about next week's game. He knew he had to be healthy, so there's times in which I would expect him to make some sort of move like he did against Florida or Akron or someone, and he didn't. He played as a smarter quarterback and kept himself healthy.
You know who I think plays the big role this week? Is Jamari Small.
Oh.
If he runs and he does, if he gets as many yards on the ground as he did against LSU this week, I think we win.
On 22 attempts, he had 128. Lost 1 yard, so he netted 127, 2 touchdowns. 49 was his large break-off run, his average of 5.8.
I think that's where your money's at this week. If he can do, if we can get him running the ball, it opens up the passing lanes.
Yes.
That's coming from a moron that doesn't know football, but that's just what I think.
And we definitely want to get into the Alabama. Let me just hit these stats real quick for everyone here. First downs, 24 for LSU, 27 for Tennessee, which was exactly what they had with Florida. Total yards, 355 LSU, 502 for Tennessee. 7 for 16 in the third down conversions, LSU. This is what I didn't like, 7 for 15 third down conversions for Tennessee. They did, however, go 3 for 3 in fourth down conversions. It bugs me just knowing that they're under 500 on that going into Alabama. How many times are you going to do a 4th down attempt against Alabama? You know, that's typically going to reserve a little bit more of that. Red zone score versus the chance. LSU was 50%, 2 for 4. Tennessee still 100% on the year, 6 for 6 against LSU, and we actually held the ball almost a minute more than they did, which is not the norm. You know, LSU was only held to 55 yards of rushing. Tennessee put up 263.
You know what's crazy? We scored 40 points with 5 field goal attempts. Think about that for a minute.
I'm looking at their.
I mean, we settled for 5 attempts, 4 field goals, and still score 40. Imagine if we convert those into touchdowns.
Yeah. Only punted twice.
Yeah, that game could have been. Tennessee's offense is just they're playing fantastic right now, and their defense has stepped up tremendously. LSU was lucky that the score wasn't a lot worse than what it was, because Tennessee did have a chance, numerous attempts to put 7 up on the board instead of just 3. So, that game could have been a lot uglier.
I'm beating a dead horse like everybody else too, and that's without Cedric Tillman.
And that's without Cedric Tillman, correct. You do know where Tennessee is sitting at in the rankings right now, don't you, Duke? 6. Yes.
I mean, I think that's I think that's a legitimate spot for y'all to be in, considering who you've played and when you look at the other teams, in the top 10.
Well, I saw another stat today that so we're 6 of the 5 teams in front of us. We're the only one that has 3 wins against top 25 teams.
Yes.
No other team in front of us does.
Yeah. It's
now whether those teams are legitimate or not, at the time we played them, they're ranked.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And they're always going to kind of miscue those numbers, just a little bit, just because a lot of it, they're looking at it as like almost like how much NFL caliber talent each team has. And so, Tennessee looks like a team that like you would look at Oklahoma for all those years where they were scoring a ton of points, and but they didn't necessarily look like a all-around complete team as of yet, but they're playing extremely well. But they don't have all these huge names where they're, like Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State have. But I tell you, if Tennessee beats Alabama, I mean, I don't see how they can keep Tennessee out of the top 3 if they beat Alabama.
Let's two of these teams that are in front of Tennessee. One is Michigan. Okay,
that's ridiculous.
Michigan is number 5. Now let's go through. Look, they've played Colorado State and won, Hawaii and won, which Vanderbilt beat.
Yeah,
Connecticut, Maryland, Iowa, Indiana, none of which were ranked.
Yeah, and Indiana.
Say that again. Dude.
What I was just saying is, I mean, Indiana played for 3 quarters. Indiana played Michigan. I mean, it was a 7-point game up until about halfway through the 3rd quarter. I mean, Indiana had numerous attempts to hang with Michigan during that game. And, I'm not saying that they would have won that game or should have won that game, because Michigan's just a far superior team. But Indiana, they held their own with Michigan for 3.5 quarters. And if they wouldn't have had some really stupid mistakes that they made, that game would have been a lot closer than what it was. So I just don't understand how they have Michigan ranked in the top 5.
And the other one, number 4, is Clemson, who's beat Georgia Tech, Furman, Louisiana Tech, Wake Forest, which was ranked 14th at the time, North Carolina State, which was ranked 15 at the time, and Boston College.
I mean, it's hard to dethrone those top 4 or 5 until you actually show up and do it. You know.
Here, what's bad is if Tennessee beats Alabama this week, and if Michigan, because they are playing Penn State, if they lose to Penn State, I bet you Penn State jumps ahead of Tennessee, just because.
That would be a laughing stock. That would be an absolute laughing stock. I'm surprised they don't have Notre Dame ranked up there in the top 5. I mean,
I saw that all over. I saw that all over the Twitter sphere yesterday about how Notre Dame's getting their feet under them, what they're saying.
Oh yeah. I mean, a 3-3 team or whatever they are, yeah, they should definitely be top 5. Notre Dame's just getting their feet under them. They're garbage.
Well, I don't expect to win this week from us, but I'm just telling myself that.
You know,
I also didn't think we'd beat LSU as bad as we did.
No, you didn't. So you keep telling yourself the other. It was a fantastic game. Move up in the points. Big winning game. We're going to take let's see how long we've been on. We've been on long enough. We are going to see you on the second episode, all of us returning to talk about Alabama. In the meantime, follow us on social media wherever you are. We are at TN Fan Talk.